Hello everyone, welcome to another video, Talking Geeky Stuff with me. This one is one of my recommendations. Just finished off Tekken Bloodline, and this is my recommendations from Netflix. Before we start, there will be, I don't know, some spoilers I suppose. I won't be going too much, but you guys and gals have been warned, spoilers alert. So Tekken, it came out, what, a week ago? A week and a bit ago, and finally finished it today. So I watched the first 3 episodes a couple of days ago, and I just finished it today, Sunday. At time I finished the rest of the 3 episodes. So in total there were 6 episodes and about 22 minutes long. So just standard anime length. So Tekken, probably one of the most popular and recognizable fighting beat 'em up gaming franchise of all time. That and probably Street Fighter, probably I would say the two most popular and best-selling ones. My overall favorite out of those beat 'em ups is Street Fighter 2 to be exact, and the overall Street Fighter franchise. Tekken ain't far behind. I mean, there's loads of other great beat 'em ups and fighting games out there, but I think Tekken is also one of the top brands. Probably one of the ones who started the kind of 3D beat 'em ups as well. And yeah, so to be honest with you, I'm surprised it's taken this long to do an animated series. I mean, there was a few before, the CGI one and the motion picture back in the mid to late 90s. They were pretty fun. We'll go into that in a bit more detail. So before we start really going on about this, let's, like I always do, I'm going to play the trailer. I'm going to start talking over it. And I remember watching the trailer. I thought, okay, when I heard it, I was like, oh, cool. I mean, Netflix has been doing a pretty good job with some, anime kind of, for example, like Spriggan recently, Bastard, the heavy metal, that all of those two are pretty good. I've done videos on them, how I recommend those two. And so, every time Netflix does an anime, for example, I'm looking forward to watching Cyberpunk as well. So if I like it, I'll do another video on that. So looking at this trailer, I thought, at first the anime, I was looking at animation itself, excuse me, the art style, and I was like, okay, it has that kind of computer generated, that kind of more modern anime style that a lot of companies going from. Reminds me of a bit of the Dragon Ball superhero recently, like similar kind of style to it. With a thick edge, the art drawing had that thick lines kind of. And so I was like, okay, I give it a go. And you look at the shadowing, it's very angled, like triangles, squares. So it's that kind of style. So I was in two minds. I thought, okay, it looked okay. And always reserve judgment until I watch the actual show. And it actually works. I actually like the animation, the jagged edges or the square edges. I thought the character designs were well done. Sometimes the CG mixed with 2D, it works in some areas, sometimes it doesn't, just like anything. I suppose if they do a second season, they'll probably get a hand of it, probably improve the animation style. But on the character designs, I do like it. They actually look like the gaming counterparts. A lot of anime shows or movies that's based on, say, a property, i.e. video games, sometimes that don't go off that well. For example, Street Fighter 2. I love the Street Fighter movie, but some of the TV shows was like hit and miss, things like that. So even like Darkstalkers anime back in early 2000s, late 90s, that was a bit of it was okay, I suppose. Wasn't the best, because to adapt it into a series is kind of tough, But I actually liked it. I like the story. It starts off him and his mother in this sort of island. He gets kind of bullied, chased down by 3 teenagers. So he starts off with Jin, teenager, and he had enough turns around and beats up the three guys or three teenagers. His mum comes in and kind of stops him. And the first episode is more about setting up the stage and how he becomes Jin and learns the Mishima style from Heihachi. And so the mother, I forgot her name now, teaches him martial arts, hand-to-hand combat, but the wisdom behind the martial arts. Use it for good. Use it's almost like Tai Chi. Use your enemy's body against them. You should only fight to protect. All those cliches that you've probably seen and heard in the past. God knows how many years of martial art movies. So he learns all that. And then out of the blue, you get to kind of like see the interaction with Jin and his mother, their relationship. They don't really tell too much of what happened. But this is designed for Tekken fans, so they kind of know what happened to his father Kazuya, Heihachi, and their relationship and all that stuff. So this is great on the writers to kind of say, okay, this is it. Most of the people watching will be fans. We don't need to do any backstory. People just know. And then that evening, after dinner or something like that, and then a creature comes called Ogre. Fights, and the mother tells Jin not to come out, and she will protect him wherever he did never come out. So they have a fight, and lo and behold, it's pretty predictable. Jin comes out, tries to help out, proves he was worthless. He didn't have much. There wasn't much help, and then the mother died, protecting him, sacrificing herself. And before she goes, tells Jin to go look for Heihachi, his grandfather. Yeah, so mother dies, he goes and look for Heihachi, and that's where the kind of main story comes, really. Then Heihachi takes him in, trains him in the Mishima style, and the training is kind of almost like opposite of the mother. It's more like anger, the way of the fist, you have to beat your opponents, no mercy kind of attitude. Another cliche, really, in a lot of martial arts. Two different sides of martial arts. There's no right and wrong way, I suppose, depending how you are. The yin and yang of martial arts. And, it uses Jin's anger and sadness. If you want to get your revenge, you're going to have to do it this way. And one good thing is, after like episode 2 and 3, you see him start training, and then one thing about the animation, apart from the visual art style, I can see some people might not like the visual art style, but it grew on me. And like I said, I like the animation, the martial arts, and they were faithful to the martial art movement in the game. It was really good, and they had these kind of really big sound effects, just like the game where you punch someone like an energy blast. Not necessarily like Street Fighter, Ryu's Hadouken, or that energy blast. You punch them and like a sparks come up, and that kind of energy when it power up. And I love that they do that sweeping kick and kick again, like almost like a combo that you so recognize in the game, and sort of hammer fist that Heihachi does in the game. So they put a lot of signature moves into the anime, and with those sort of like special effects that comes with it, and that is a really good touch, and I love that. I think a lot of anime slash gaming, gaming anime should do more of that. It's not too on the nose as well. It's not so like, hey, we know this is from the game, we're going to try to copy it. Not that it's it's not too on the nose. It was just the right amount. And I love the animation side. The punches that you had, it felt like it had weight to it. So some anime that has like hand-to-hand combat just felt really kind of soft. I hope that makes sense. This one has a bit of weight, so you kind of felt the punches in a certain way. It's kind of remind me of like the Dragon Ball movie, the last couple of Dragon Ball movies, where the martial art felt that there was a really impact and had a weight to it, and I like that. And as by the time he finishes training, you can see him grow up 4 years later, and you can recognize the Jin that we see. And his body gets ripped, six-pack. Not six-pack, I think he's got 8-pack. And then you see little snippets when he's gone to school, he's getting bruised up, and you see little bits of him fighting a young teenager, Horang. That's how they know each other. If there's one thing, and then before I go into my criticism, and so from episode 3 onwards, they want to. Heihachi wants to do a tournament, King of the Iron Fist, to lure out Ogre. Explains that the reason why Ogre attacked it, he attacks like the best fighters. And when Jin fought those teenagers that bullied him in the first episode, it was the same day that Ogre came out and hunted for him. And later on, you find out that because there was talking about the first the tournament, or the second one of the first tournaments where Kazuya was in, and showed flashbacks of him. And I like the way they did Kazuya. He looked pretty good, and Jin being curious, finding out what happened to his father, and Heihachi tells him that he was evil. Everyone in the fight was telling him, Jin, your father was evil. He was the most powerful fighter, and he won because he had the devil gene. And Heihachi kind of like said to Jin that that's the reason why Ogre is hunting you down. And they say that Jin, you probably have the devil genes, and in order to get revenge, you have to fight the tournament to lure Ogre in, so you can get your revenge. But of course, there's a big ploy from Heihachi trying to capture Ogre to use him or something like that. Then there's a series of. I love the backdrop of the tournament. It's in like what looks to be kind of like Machu Picchu sort of thing, and like a Colosseum where they do the fighting, and a mountain on the far side had Heihachi, like his face kind of embedded into this mountain. That was a pretty good scene. I did like that. A good backdrop for the fight. And yeah, the tournament goes on. Great fights with all the characters. If there's a few things I would definitely kind of want season 2 to improve, or maybe 6 episodes may have been too short. I'm not talking about maybe a 22 episode like standard anime, maybe not even a 12 episode, maybe 2 more episodes, make it an 8 episode, because there was a few characters that, for example, how did he get so friendly with the other characters? And there were some other fights that, like for example, martial law. The show Martial Law, the Bruce Lee type of character. He just has a little picture of him fighting, and then it disappeared. So they didn't really focus on too many other characters. I would like to see Jin interact with more characters, or just see more fights, really, to be honest with you. Excuse me. So that's one of the downsides, was I think they added 2 more episodes. They could have kind of introduced more characters, more fights, and through the fights you kind of have maybe just understanding each character, why they're there, and what's their motive. Because that's what was missing as well. They all talk about they're here for personal reasons. Some of them you understood, they want to get revenge on Heihachi by the medallion and so on. But there's a few things they talk about why they're here for Heihachi. I would love to see maybe a flashback about what their motives are. They didn't really talk too much about. Maybe they will do that for season 2, if there's a season 2. To be honest, I hope they do a season 2, because it is pretty good. And another disappointment was because, of course, you knew Ogre was coming and fighting, but deep down I was hoping for maybe the last episode or something, or the second half of the last episode, when Ogre gets beat and then some sort of energy blast, instead of Ogre transforming into this big creature, which I didn't really like. I thought maybe he would transform into Kazuya, and Kazuya become the main bad guy, and then kind of like a big fight between Jin and Kazuya. Kazuya wins victoriously, kind of ends with a cliffhanger into season 2. I was thinking of something like that, because what happened instead was when Jin beats Ogre, the sky turns, and then he transforms into this kind of creature with a snake hand and big tail, seems to stand 12 feet tall, and every other fighter joins in the fall. That kind of took me out a bit, because you understand the Tekken lore, you kind of understand that, but when you watch it in like motion picture or a TV show anyway, you kind of want it to be a bit more, I know it sounds weird, but grounded. The show has proven anything but grounded, but I want it to be a bit more grounded, because it was grounded enough to be kind of fantastical. Hope that makes sense. And then the big creature out there, you know, the wings and the horns and the snake hands, and they're all fighting. Just felt like, oh, what is this in a whole new genre kind of thing? I felt it kind of odd, even though it's part of the Tekken lore. I know it's weird. So that's, and I just really wanted to see Kazuya. Really, I know they're probably going to save him for the second season, if there's a second season. Like I said, I hope there is, because I really enjoyed it. But overall, though, I do recommend this. I like the animation. I like the fights. The fights are definitely a plus. You know, the hand-to-hand combat. They kept a lot of the, how to say, the designs. They look really good. You know, just like the game itself. And even like I said, I think the main thing I was positive about is the fights. They really, really, you know, respected the game. Yeah. So overall, like I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, there's a couple of missed opportunities there, but overall, a 7.5 out of 10. And here you go. If you enjoyed that Tekken Bloodline from Netflix and you want more, I would suggest go back to the 90s. What was it, 96 or 97? Tekken the motion picture. Animation was really 90s, so some people may think it's a bit dated, but it's still got a charm. It's more about Kazuya. And the more recent one, the CG one, Tekken Blood Vengeance, which is pretty cool. Kind of almost like an extended cutscene from the Tekken PS4, Tekken PS5, for example, like a long hour and a half cutscene of that, which is pretty good. So nothing amazing, but I think they're worth watching. To, you know, if you want a bit more of the Tekken fix. Yeah, so highly recommend Tekken Bloodline. It's on Netflix. And thanks for watching, really. And please do subscribe. Until next time, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And please do stay safe. Goodbye.